Green eyes, they're not what you think. It's a visual trick, a masterclass in physics. True green eyes are incredibly rare. Only about 2% of the world has them, but that small group holds wild variety. Not one color, but 7 distinct types. We will explore 7 entirely unique visual experiences. By the video's end, you'll fully grasp how light manipulates eye architecture to produce these stunning variations. You might also discover that what you perceived as a single color is actually a complex optical illusion. Let's explore the first type, often mislabeled, but holds a fascinating structural secret, the aqua or turquoise variant. Picture standing by a glacial lake. You know the water isn't painted blue, it's clear. Yet, how the deep water scatters sunlight makes it appear as a piercing, crystalline blue-green. This perfectly illustrates what we term the aqua green eye. Within iris observation, this often becomes the most perplexing category, as it sits right between blue and green. A turquoise pigment doesn't cause this. The human doesn't produce blue or green iris pigments. Instead, this eye color relies on the Tyndall effect, like Rayleigh scattering that colors the sky blue. In such eyes, almost no melanin exists in the iris's front layer, called the stroma. This stroma is usually very fine, with a delicate structure. When light strikes it, the shorter blue wavelengths scatter wildly. But here's the surprising twist. A tiny, microscopic dusting of yellow pigment called lipochrome. When scattered blue light blends with that faint yellow filter, your eye perceives a vibrant sea glass aqua. It's a delicate balance. If the iris's collagen fibers were slightly thicker, the eye would appear gray. If more lipochrome were present, it would look fully green. This specific type is essentially a suspended animation between blue and green, creating a look that shifts based on your shirt or the weather outside. It's not magic, just the physics of light scattering based on the ambient environment. Now, let's shift to something warmer, earthier. The olive green eye, which has a significant history in genetic research. If the olive eye resembles an antique bronze statue or sunlit forest floor, this fascinating variant defies the notion that green eyes must be light, showcasing a richer, darker depth. They lack the piercing, translucent quality of lighter shades, instead featuring a matte finish that absorbs light uniquely. Biologically, this results from a medium melanin level. The same light scattering creates the green base, but it's overlaid with a heavier blanket of natural brown melanin. Imagine viewing a green light through a pair of sunglasses. The intensity dampens, and the color becomes moodier, more complex. It resembles moss on a rock. This creates a soft, inviting look, often perceived as trustworthy and warm, likely bridging the gap between light eye's intensity and dark eye's depth. From earthy tones, we shift to arguably the most famous yet misunderstood type, the true emerald. This is the holy grail of green eyes, frequently seen on magazine covers. It's vivid, solid, and incredibly distinct. Unlike olive or aqua types, emerald eyes rarely shift colors. They maintain a potent, grassy green regardless of lighting. To understand how emerald eyes exist, imagine a prism. In these eyes, the stroma, that fibrous iris layer, is clear enough to effectively scatter light, creating a blue base. But unlike the blue-green eyes previously discussed, emerald eyes contain a much higher concentration of that yellow lipochrome pigment. It's a simple art class equation applied to biology. Strong blue scatter plus strong yellow pigment equals a vivid, unmistakable green. Current iridology observations suggest the glow associated with emerald eyes stems from the stroma's clarity. The fibers are arranged to allow light to penetrate deep into the iris, bouncing back out, illuminating that yellow pigment from within. It's similar to how a laser moves through a gemstone. With very little brown melanin to muddy the color, the green appears with startling purity. It's a recessive trait requiring a very specific genetic combination, making it one of the rarest confirmed human phenotypes. Now, let's disrupt this pattern. We've examined blue-greens, earthy greens, and pure greens. But what happens when an eye acts like a chameleon? This leads us to the hazel green variant. You might think, isn't hazel a separate category? Officially, in medical forms, yes. But in color mechanics, many hazel eyes are actually green eyes with a centralized melanin burst. This is often called central heterochromia. Imagine a solar eclipse with a dark center surrounded by a flared light ring. That defines the hazel green eye's structure. The outer iris ring is true green, caused by the light scattering discussed. However, closer to the pupil, a distinct concentration of brown or gold melanin exists. The reason for classifying this as a green variant is that its dominant impression, especially from a conversational distance, is often green. The magic of this eye type lies in its dynamism. The pupil expands and contracts based on light and emotion, so the visible amount of green versus brown actually changes physically. When the pupil is small in bright sunlight, the green outer ring is maximized, making the eye look vibrant. When the pupil dilates in a dim room, green compresses and the brown center dominates. This leads to the common experience of people saying their eyes change mood. It's not a mood ring, it's simply the iris curtain's mechanics revealing or hiding pigment layers. Let's turn to the shadows for our next type, the forest or hunter green eye. If the emerald eye is a sunlit meadow, the hunter green eye is the deep ocean or a dense pine forest at twilight. These are the darkest in the green spectrum, often mistaken for brown in low lighting. Its beauty lies in subtlety, demanding a closer look. The biological difference here is density. Researchers suggest that darker green eyes have a thicker collagen structure in the iris. When the stroma is dense, it doesn't scatter light as aggressively as in lighter eyes. It absorbs more light. Combine that with a moderate amount of melanin, and you get a rich, brooding, intense color. This type fascinates, challenging the idea that light eyes are purely about pigment absence. Here, enough pigment creates depth, but not enough to turn the eye brown. It's a delicate threshold. Clinically, we often see that people with this eye color have slightly more UV glare protection than their pale-eyed counterparts, purely because that darker canvas absorbs stray light more effectively. It's a functional beauty, offering a gaze that feels solid and grounding, not airy or ethereal. Now, we must swing to the complete opposite spectrum end. We've discussed the dark and vivid, but what about the ghostly? This is the mint or pale green eye. This is perhaps the most ethereal and striking of all. Imagine a frosted glass piece with a faint green light behind it. These eyes can look almost transparent. They're often described as piercing or icy, but distinct from blue ice. The science behind the mint eye reveals an extreme lack of pigmentation. Here, the stroma is very loose, containing very little melanin and only a whisper of lipochrome. With such minimal material to absorb light, nearly all of it scatters back out. This operates on the same principle that makes a cloud appear white, as light bounces off everything. Due to just a hint of yellow tone, the scatter shifts from white to a pale minty green. Observational data indicates individuals with this eye type are often more sensitive to bright light, experiencing photophobia just because their irises, allowing increased light to reach the retina. However, this comes with a compromise. You acquire a gorgeous, uncommon eye shade, almost otherworldly in appearance. Yet, you may often find yourself needing sunglasses, even when it's overcast. The visual effect of mint-colored eyes is significant due to the strong visual difference between them and the pupil. Its dark core stands out sharply from the light-colored iris, resulting in an intense, piercing gaze that's impossible to overlook. Moving on, we come to the most uncommon and visually intricate variety, the golden or amber green eye. Don't confuse this with pure amber eyes, distinctively solid gold. An amber-green eye is a green base that appears gilded. Picture a green leaf in late autumn, precisely as its veins begin to shift to gold. That's the color scheme we're discussing. This phenomenon arises when lipochrome, the yellow pigment, accumulates densely but irregularly. Rather than blending flawlessly with the blue scatter to form emerald, the yellow pigment settles in distinct clouds or rays. This results in an outcome where the eyes appear green when shaded, yet instantly ignite with golden and coppery hues. Evolutionary biology points to lipochrome being a uniquely unstable component. Melanin tends to be stable, unlike lipochrome deposits, which can differ greatly in density and location. This gives the eyes a metallic shimmer. It's an appearance frequently seen in animals such as wolves or big cats. Hence, this eye color is often called wild or exotic. It reminds us of our primal biological link to the animal kingdom, a natural showcase of genetic variety, evoking an ancient, potent feel. The dynamic between the cool green base and the warm golden overlay forms a vibrant color effect, which the human brain finds especially captivating. Therefore, why is this entire discussion relevant? Why consider specific eye shades like mint, olive, or emerald important? It's because we're reminded that green is simply a name applied to a complicated truth. Looking into another's eyes, you're not merely observing a color. You're witnessing the exact density of their collagen strands. You observe the precise melanin content that helped their ancestors thrive in their specific environment. When you next glance in the mirror, or encounter a new individual, give it an extra moment. Beyond the hue, discover its underlying structure. Observe the light. Find the history etched into the iris. Perhaps you'll discover a category we haven't touched upon today. Your comments are welcome below. Among these 7, which type most closely matches your eyes? Or which one do you consider the most fascinating? Share your thoughts below. If you appreciated this thorough exploration of our eye's secret science, tapping the like button assists us immensely. Appreciate you watching. Continue to be curious.